Hi everyone, so today I'm doing a cheap art supply challenge. I've been wanting to do this for a while and I finally got the stuff together and decided to do it. So things I'm using, I picked up some Crayola watercolor pencils. I decided to get watercolor pencils instead of just regular colored pencils because I know that they are not waxy like the other pencils, and it would just be cool to have that added effect that they can also be, water soluble, since I am going to be doing a watercolor painting. Everybody knows what this is. It is a Sakura jelly roll. I have a love-hate relationship with this, but I'm gonna use it because it is cheap. Also gonna use a Pentel eraser, just in case. I'm probably not gonna use it very much. And the watercolor set I'm gonna be using today is a Artist Loft 28 pan, I believe, set, and they're very vibrant, and I love the color selection that they give you. The only thing is that they're rather chalky, and this chalkiness comes off not only in the pan but also in the dried painting. So that's one thing I know about this. The other cool thing about it is the fact that the lid can be completely removed and used as a palette. And I'm going to be using the sketchbook. It's just one I picked up from Target. I wanted something that was large enough that I could do something substantial. The only thing is that the paper isn't as heavy as I want it to be, so you're gonna see how that turns out. Last but not least, the brushes. These are actually some off-brand, or no-brand, rather, water brushes I picked up from eBay for about $1.20. They are very, very similar to Pentel Aquash brush pens. You can fill them with water, ink, whatever you want. I ended up only using the small and the large. I didn't use the medium very much. So let's get on to the challenge. So I started off with a magenta Crayola pencil because I always do everything in pink or red, so I gravitated towards my favorite color to use for sketching. And I did use the eraser just a tiny bit to clean up some stuff, and as long as you didn't draw too dark, it would pick up a little bit. So into the painting, I started off with the large size brush with the Artist Loft palette, and everything seemed good at first. The colors were coming off rather vibrant, though very transparent, which I expected. The weird thing about this paint is that if you use it undiluted with less water, it comes out more like gouache. But that just leads to it being even more chalky later, and it actually pulls up really, really easily, and it's kind of not what I want. So eventually the paper started to buckle, and it was a little hard to keep the paint from pooling in the peaks and valleys of the paper. I tried really hard to keep things smooth, but the t-shirt, it wouldn't work, no. Pants looked okay just because it kind of gave them a cool texture, but that shirt, dang. I kept to a pretty minimal color palette just because I wasn't sure what I even wanted to do. I wanted to use more of the colored pencils, but I ended up only using really 3. I felt kind of bad about that. I'll probably use them more though in the future just because they actually worked out quite well. Layering these watercolors was a little dangerous because they pulled up very easily once dried, and so anytime I would add color, it felt like it was almost picking up the color and depositing the color that I was putting on top of it instead of mixing it or instead of layering it. So I had a bit of trouble with that, but I think it worked out okay. Then I went back in with a couple of the colored pencils, like I said, about 3 of them, and added some details. So I had the magenta, added black, and then at the very end I use a teal color, or I think it was called turquoise, can't really remember. And that was my favorite color in that entire box. I had to use it, so I ended up doing an outline around the entire drawing of it. In the end, I kind of wish I did do a even bigger picture and filled up more of the page, just because I felt restricted. Even though I was trying so hard to not feel restricted and draw larger, I still ended up feeling a little too closed in my drawing, so I didn't get to put it nearly as much detail as I normally do. It was hard to keep the Crayola pencils sharpened, and I did not include the sharpener in my list at the beginning, because you could literally use anything. You could use a knife to sharpen these, so I kind of feel like that wasn't really something that needed to be included. But yeah, with the final touches, I finally went in with the jelly roll and put in some highlights. And just like I remember, the jelly roll bothers me so much. I've used this thing for years, but I hate how it like, you have to build it up some places, and then as soon as you get it to the right consistency, the right opacity, you go over it just one more time, and it all comes up for no reason. It just like peels off the paper, and that bothers me so much. But this is kind of the reason why I stopped using these, unless I just needed it for really, really light details. Otherwise I stick to my Uniball pens, so I think this whole set of art supplies was just under $20. But yeah, I hope this was kind of fun to watch. It was fun to do, and I would really like to do another one in the future. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.